Welcome students. This is English subject. We are studying topic number 1.1 an astrologer's day. This is part second. In part first, we already have seen the author's information. We already have started the lesson. Just revise a little revision to you all to understand the next part, the second part. In the first paragraph, it is provided, it is given, information is given to us that there is a person who is by profession is an astrologer. He is very punctual. Every noon, every midday, he is going to come at a particular place. He is going to spread out his professional equipments. In his professional equipments, many things are there. There are dozen cowrie shells are there. Obscure mystic charts, notebook, bundle of Palmaya writing. He is going to decorative writing properly. His appearance is given. He has applied sacred ash and vermilion on his forehead. His eyes are very sharp. There is a gleam in his eyes. He has huge big whiskers, moustache. Because of all of this, he looks very attractive. He is going to wound a saffron colored turban on his head. Due to this whole attire, people are going to attract towards him like the bees are going to attract towards cosmos or a dahlia flowers. The place where he is sitting is a very crowded place. There are many occupations are there. Many people are there. Different types of sellers are there. Medicine sellers, sellers of stolen hardware and junk, magicians are there, auctioneers are there. Above astrologer, where he is sitting, beside him there is one fried groundnut seller. That groundnut seller is very peculiar. Every day he is changing the name of his dish. Sometimes he is going to call his dish Bombay ice cream. Sometimes he is going to call Delhi almond. Sometimes he is going to give the name to his dish Raja's delicacy. Because of these beautiful names, people are not normally going to attract towards him. They used to flock around him, gather around him to eat his groundnuts. These all people are normally dallied before the astrologer also. Dallied before means they came forward, they used to come to the astrologer, they used to hang around. The astrologer transacted his business at such situation, at such place, the marketplace. There was no light, street lights were not available. So the only source to the astrologer was the stove that was burnt by the groundnut seller. So whatever the small source of light, and in that light, the astrologer used to trade, used to talk with people. But this was because of this low light, dim light, there was a type of enchantment, magical atmosphere was there. The place was lit up by shop lights. There were hissing gas lights were there. At some places on poles there were naked flares. Some people used cycle lamps. Because of this all situation, astrologer used to take advantage of the situation, used to give advices beautifully. He never wanted to be astrologer. By happening, because of the life turning point, he happened to be an astrologer. Now let's see the remaining part. He was as much a stranger to the stars as were his innocent customers. So he was very stranger to the stars. Yet he said things which pleased and astonished people, everyone. He used to talk very beautifully. His talk used to surprise greatly. The customers used to feel very surprised. That that was more a matter of study, practice, and shrewd guesswork. Because of practice, the astrologer has become very accurate in guesswork. All the same, it was as much an honest man's labor as any other, and he deserved the wages, obviously, because of his skill and because of his talent. He deserved wages, he deserved money. He carried home at the end of the day. So every day, some money he used to collect based on his skills. He had left his village without previous thought or plan. Because of some incident, he has to leave his village suddenly. If he had continued there, he would have carried on the work of his forefathers, namely tilling the land. Tilling the land means if he is going to stay, he would have stayed in the village. In that village, he would have tilling the land, that means doing the farming activity. Living, marrying, and ripening in his cornfield, an ancestral home. But that was not to be. He had to leave home without telling anyone. He has to leave suddenly, and he could not rest till 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 he left it behind a couple of 100 miles. To a villager, it is a great deal because his background was very poor. He has no money. He entered into the city, into the town, and it was very tough task to manage, to meet the ends, to manage bread and butter. To a villager, it is a great deal, as if an ocean flowed between. It was a huge ocean. He had a working analysis of mankind's trouble. Because of all this much of experience, these much of years of experience, he was well known about mankind's trouble, marriage, money, and tangles of human ties. That means complexity of human relationship. Long practice had sharpened his perception. His perception, his understanding was very good. By looking at any person's face or the hand or the movement or the way of talking, the astrologer used to understand the economical or some of the the personality traits of the customer. Within 5 minutes, he understood what was wrong. He charged 3 pies per question. So the rate was fixed. He never opened his mouth till the other had spoken for at least 10 minutes, which provided him enough stuff for a dozen answers and advices. So he used to listen to the customer properly, and then he used to give them advices. When he told the person before him, gazing at his palm, that means looking at the hand, in many ways you are not getting the fullest result for your efforts. He used to normally say that whatever efforts you are doing, you are not getting the same result. 9 out of 10 were disposed to agree with him, and most of the people used to agree with this opinion. They used to say that yes, you are talking true, I am taking too much efforts, but I am getting less. Or he questioned, is there any woman in your life, in your family, maybe even a distant relative, who is not well disposed towards you? He usually used to guess, but this guesswork was very, very accurate. People used to nod it. People used to say true. He gave an analysis of character. Most of your troubles are due to your nature. How can you be otherwise with Saturn where he is? And he used to say that your planets and the fate is very powerful. But then also, because of your nature, you are suffering. You have an impetuous nature. Impetuous, that means impulsive, very quick in manner, very quick reaction because of impulsive nature, and a rough exterior. This endeared him. Endeared, that means made likable. People used to like him. The customers used to like him to their hearts immediately. For even the mildest of us loves to think that he has a forbidding exterior, and people used to think that the astrologer has magical power. The nuts vendor blew out his flare and rose to go home. That was the evening. Obviously, the twilight came, the darkness is going to come. So, the groundnut seller, he blew out, extinguished his fire, and he about to go home. This was a signal for the astrologer to bundle up too, since it left him in darkness except for a little shaft of green light which strayed in from somewhere and touched the ground before him. And this is a signal to the astrologer also that he is going to wind up, he is going to collect his all the articles, and he is going to go home, because obviously his source of light is going to go. What is the source of his light? The stove of the groundnut seller. Now groundnut seller has blew out the torch. Now there is no light, but there is one another source of light from front Shopee. A green light was falling down in front of him. He picked up his cowrie shells and paraphernalia, that means a large number of small articles, all those small cowries and different types of cards and different types of charts and patrikas and everything. He collected all and was putting them back into his bag when the green shaft of light was bolted out, and suddenly he observed that the shaft, the light which was falling down in front of him on the road, disappeared. He looked up and saw a man standing before him, and he looked up and he observed that there is one man who was standing. He sensed a possible client and said he thought that a customer is going. He thought he looked at him as if a customer. He sensed a possible client and said, "You look so careworn." Careworn, that means you look very worried. It will do you good to sit down for a while and chat with me. And he requested him, that person, that you sit down and talk with me. The other grumbled some reply vaguely. The front person, the stranger person, grumbled, talk something, not clearly. The astrologer pressed his invitation. He insisted him to sit. Whereupon the other thrust his palm under his nose and he started saying, You call yourself an astrologer? The astrologer felt challenged and said, tilting the other's palm towards the green shaft of light, tilting, that moving down his hand. He pointed down and showed him the place to sit. Yours is a nature, and he started saying the normally he's going to guesswork he's going to do. So he started saying, but he was suddenly interrupted. Oh, stop that, the other said. Tell me something worthwhile. He requested him that you are going to tell me something which is very, very important. Don't tell me common things. Our friend felt puked. Puked means that means irritated. I charge only 3 pies per question. He said that I am going to charge 3 pies. And what do you get out to be good enough for your money? At this, the other threw his arm, took out an anna, and flung it out to him. The stranger took out an anna, and he flung out, thrown it at the astrologer, saying, I have some questions to ask. If I prove you are bluffing means if you are false, you must return that anna to me with interest. So you are going to give me more money. You are going to return my anna as well as you are going to give me interest. If you find my answer satisfactory, will you give me 5 rupees? The astrologer said, if my answers are satisfactory, then you are going to give me 5 rupees. And if my answers are not satisfactory, then I am going to give you your anna and interest also.